Hello. Hello. And welcome to Veda ASMR. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you're having a very good day or night, whatever time it is that you are watching this. Today I'm going to be reading you some relaxing bedtime stories from this treasury of bedtime stories. These are some classic fairy tales. You've probably heard most of them. And I have done one video with this book previously, so if you enjoy this, you can go ahead and take a look at the other video I've done. As you can see, this book is not in perfect condition. It appears to be well loved, and I did get it from a used bookstore near me. As you can see, it has some of the classic characters on the front here. We have Pied Piper, Jack and his Beanstalk, Puss in Boots, the Tortoise and the Hare. Looks like Cinderella in her rags and her prince with her golden slipper. The Three Little Pigs, Red Riding Hood, and maybe the Three Blind Mice. I'm not sure. But anyway, we get to reading some of these in here. If you do like reading, perhaps more adult books, I am doing a book club right now, if you didn't see my posts on it. And you are very, very welcome to join us. This month we are reading An Anonymous Woman or An Anonymous Girl. I'll have to look and I'll put it in the description box. I always get it confused, but it's been in previous posts. I think it's An Anonymous Girl, but I've been reading it. I'm enjoying it so far. And we will be having the actual live book club on April 2nd, which is a Friday, at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you would like to join. So I look forward to seeing you there. I know a lot of people have already said they plan to attend, and I'm really excited to see you guys. Okay. I always liked Jack and the Beanstalk. Let's read that one. So we have Jack and the Beanstalk. Long ago, there lived a poor woman and her son named Jack. They had no money and no food, so the woman decided that they must sell their milking cow. The woman asked Jack to take the cow into town and offer her for sale. On the road into town, Jack met a strange man who asked to buy the cow. "I will give you 5 magic beans for your cow," he said to Jack. "Do you know how many that is?" 5. "2 for each of my hands and 1 in my mouth," answered Jack. "Right," said the strange man. "Here are the beans." So Jack traded the cow for the 5 magic beans. So here's the man. You can see the beans in his hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. He has a walking stick, and here's Jack with the milking cow. When Jack returned home, he proudly told his mother of the good trade he had made. "You foolish boy," she said. "Now we will go hungry." And she threw the beans out the window because she did not believe they were magic. She sent Jack to bed without any supper, even though there was nothing to eat anyway. The next morning, Jack awoke to find a large beanstalk growing from the spot where the beans had fallen. It was so tall that it grew all the way to the sky. Jack climbed the beanstalk until he was high in the sky, even higher than the clouds, and there before him he saw a great castle. So here we see Jack Jack walked up to the castle. There in the doorway stood the biggest woman he had ever seen. "Please, ma'am, I'm very hungry. Could I come in and have something to eat?" asked Jack. The woman said that her husband, who was a giant, was coming home soon and would eat Jack for supper. But Jack asked again so nicely, the woman brought him inside and gave him some breakfast. No sooner had Jack finished eating than he heard the tramp, tramp, tramp of the giant's boots. Quickly, the woman hid Jack in the unlit oven. Oh, it's a scary place to hide. So here he is. He's approaching the castle with the giantess. She looks kind of angry. I think that's probably when she's telling him that her husband would eat him for supper. The giant filled the kitchen door and roared, "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he live or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread." "You only smell the stew I have cooked," said his wife, setting a huge bowl in front of him. After the giant had eaten his fill, he called for his gold. His wife brought bags of gold coins. The giant counted them until he grew sleepy. Soon he began to snore. Does that sound like a snore? Jack slipped out of the dark oven and grabbed one of the bags of gold. Then he ran as fast as he could to the beanstalk and climbed down. So there's little tiny Jack, the huge giant. Look how big that bag of gold is. Can you imagine how heavy that would be if that's just filled with gold coins, giant gold coins? So he's somehow carrying that with one arm. I don't believe it. There's the giant sleeping and snoring away. Jack's mother was happy to have him home, and the gold bought them food for many months. But as soon as the coins were spent, Jack disguised himself and climbed the beanstalk past the clouds. Once again he asked the giant's wife to let him into the castle. The woman did not recognize Jack in his disguise, but she did not want to let him in. She told Jack that the last boy she had let in for food had stolen a bag of her husband's gold. But Jack asked so nicely for a drink that she brought him to the kitchen and gave him a thimble of water. Look at the giant thimble. It's like a bucket for Jack. His very convincing disguise, yes. She looks suspicious, though. No sooner had Jack finished the water than he heard the tramping of giant boots and ran to hide in the oven. The giant roared, "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread." His wife said, "You only smell the delicious soup I have cooked for you." Then she fed the giant his supper. After the giant had eaten, he told the wife to bring his magic hen. "Lay an egg," commanded the giant. The hen laid a perfect golden egg. Soon the giant fell asleep, and Jack crept out from his hiding place. He grabbed the hen and did not stop running until he was safely home. So here's the giant. He looks angry. He's filling the door again. And there's Jack slipping into the oven to hide. Each day, the hen laid another golden egg. Jack and his mother were able to sell the eggs to buy plenty of food. Jack's mother was happy. But Jack still longed for adventure, so he climbed up the beanstalk once more and tiptoed into the giant's castle. He ran into the kitchen and hid behind a giant broom. Soon the giant and his wife came in. The giant looked around the kitchen and cried, "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood oven. His wife quickly ran to look in the oven, but no one was there. So here we see Jack with his mother. They both look so happy, big smiles. And there's the chicken with its golden egg, or hen, sorry, not chicken, hen with her golden egg. The giant sat down in his chair with a thump that rattled the kitchen floor, thump, 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 and called for his wife to bring him his magic harp. Jack watched as a lovely golden harp was set before the giant. When the giant roared, "Sing!" the harp came to life and played a beautiful song all by itself. It even sang along with its music in a soft, sweet voice. The giant ate his supper while the harp played and sang. When the giant was full, the harp's music lulled him to sleep. When the giant was snoring loudly and was certainly asleep, Jack crept from his hiding place behind the broom. He picked up the golden harp and ran away with it. The magic harp called out, "Help, master!" This woke the sleeping giant. When he realized that his prized harp was being stolen, the giant leaped up with a mighty roar of rage and grabbed for Jack with one of his huge hands. Jack jumped off the table and ran as fast as his legs would carry him. He could hear the tramp, tramp, tramp of the giant's boots behind him, and that made him run faster than he had ever run before. When Jack reached the beanstalk, he climbed all the way down to the ground with the magic harp clutched tightly in one arm. There he is, running away as fast as his legs will carry him, with the giant chasing after. As soon as Jack reached the ground, he grabbed an axe and with one sharp blow chopped down the huge beanstalk. Down it crashed, and with it crashed the giant. That was the end of the magic beanstalk and the end of the giant. As for Jack and his mother, they lived happily ever after with the wonderful hen and the magical golden harp. Oh, how nice for Jack and his mother. The poor giant. And the giantess lost her husband. But we're not supposed to care about that. Oh, Snow White. Let's do Snow White. So you can see here Snow White. Here's the 7 dwarfs and her prince. Long ago, in a far-off land, a princess was born with hair as black as night, skin as white as snow, and lips the color of rubies. She was called Snow White. As the baby grew into a little girl, she became more beautiful every year. Her stepmother, the queen, was also very beautiful. The queen was so vain she had a magical mirror made. Every day she looked in the mirror and asked, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of us all?" The mirror would answer, "You, my queen, are the fairest in the land." And the queen was very pleased because she knew that it was true. So here's the queen. She looks very self-satisfied knowing she is the fairest in the land. And the mirror. But one day, when Snow White had grown to be a young maiden, the vain queen asked, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of us all?" And the mirror replied, "You, my queen, may lovely be, but Snow White is fairer than thee." The queen was very angry because she could not stand to have anyone be prettier than she. From that time on, the queen hated Snow White. When she could no longer bear to look at the beautiful princess, she called a woodsman and ordered him to take Snow White away and kill her. The man, fearing for his own life, took the girl deep into the forest, but could not bring himself to kill her. Instead, he left Snow White there alone. Here's beautiful Snow White. that she's alone. Look at all the little animals, so cute. We have a squirrel. We have a little deer, a rabbit, raccoon. I love their little hands. Raccoons have the cutest hands. And a chipmunk. Snow White found herself all alone in the dark woods. Around her were mysterious noises and frightening shadows. She was so scared she began to run. Tree branches caught at her black hair as she ran through the forest. Wild beasts watched her, but they did not harm the beautiful girl. She ran as fast and as far as she could, until she saw a little cottage with a red roof. When no one answered her knocks, Snow White went inside. There she found a little table set with 7 plates, and 7 little beds were all lined up against the wall. The hungry princess nibbled a bit of food from each plate, then threw herself down on the 7th bed and fell asleep. So here we see the food. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plates, and 4 of the 7 beds. And Snow White entering the cottage. 7 dwarfs shared this little cottage. Soon they came back from the gold and copper mines where they worked. How surprised they were to find Snow White sleeping in their home. They let the lovely girl sleep until morning, and then asked her how she had found her way to their cottage deep in the woods. When they heard Snow White's story, they felt sorry for her and asked her to stay. She took care of the cottage, and the dwarfs gave her food, friendship, and shelter in return. Look at them all crowded around while she's sleeping. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. Snow White was happy living with the dwarfs, but one day back at the castle, the evil queen again asked, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of us all?" And the mirror replied, "You, my queen, may lovely be, but Snow White is fairer still than thee." The mirror's a snitch. Then the queen knew that Snow White was still alive. She decided to kill the girl herself. The queen disguised herself as an ugly old woman and then appeared at the dwarf's cottage. She called out, "Belts for sale, buy my pretty belts." Snow White saw no danger in opening the door to let in the disguised queen. Snow White tried on one of the lovely silk belts. The queen pulled the belt so tight around the girl's waist that she fell down as if dead. She made her faint. Look, she's fainting. There's the queen disguised as an old woman with her belt. When the dwarfs returned, they found Snow White lying on the floor. Right away, they saw that the girl's belt was too tight and cut it off with a knife. She began to breathe again and told them what had happened. The dwarfs realized that the old woman must have been the evil queen, and they warned Snow White to be very careful. Above all, she must not open the door to let in anyone. Meanwhile, at the castle, the queen asked once more, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of us all?" When the mirror had answered that Snow White was still the fairest, the queen shook with rage and vowed that Snow White must die. So they're all waking her up, and she looks a little bit embarrassed. I probably would be too if I passed out because my belt was too tight. The evil queen set out for the cottage in a new disguise. This time she offered to sell Snow White a lovely comb. Snow White took the comb through the window this time and put it in her hair. She fell right where she stood, because the comb was poisoned. The dwarfs soon came home. They realized at once that the comb was poisoned and quickly removed it from Snow White's hair before it killed her. Back at the castle, the queen asked yet again, Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of us all? When she learned that the princess still lived, the queen used all her magic to make a single perfect poisoned apple. Then the queen dressed herself as a poor woman and went once more to see Snow White. She offered the girl the apple, and Snow White could not resist it. Part of the apple's magic was that everyone who saw it must taste it. Snow White bit into the fruit, and she instantly fell down as if dead. When the queen returned to the castle, her mirror told her at last, "Queen, thou art fairest of us all." The dwarfs could not wake Snow White, but she looked as healthy and as pretty as if she were comfortably sleeping. They laid her in a glass case so they could watch over her. There she is, looking at the apple. One day, a prince was hunting in the woods. He came upon Snow White lying in the glass case and thought she was the most beautiful princess he had ever seen. He fell in love with her right away. He believed the glass box must be part of some evil enchantment, so he opened the case and lifted Snow White in his arms. As the prince picked up Snow White, the piece of poisoned apple fell from her mouth, and she woke from her sleep. Snow White slowly opened her eyes to find herself in the arms of a prince. There he is, her prince. She is in her glass box. When the dwarves learned that Snow White was alive, they danced with joy and agreed happily that she should marry the prince. As for the queen, her hatred made her so ugly that she could no longer bear to look in her mirror. She finally smashed it in a fit of rage, so she never found out about Snow White's happiness. That's nice. There's the 7 dwarves and Snow White and her prince. I think this was the picture that was in the beginning, wasn't it? Let's see. Yep, it's the same picture from the beginning. That's a spoiler. They gave away the ending. Okay, how about we do one more? The 3 little pigs. Let's try that one. 1, 2, 3. 3 little pigs. There was once a mother pig who told her 3 little pigs that it was now time for them to seek their fortunes. She warned them that each one must build a house to keep himself safe. The first little pig met a man with a bundle of straw. He asked the man for some straw and built himself a little straw house. Soon enough, a wolf came along and knocked on the door, saying, little pig, let me come in." "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," answered the first little pig. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in," said the wolf. And he huffed and he puffed and he blew the straw house down. The first little pig was not safe in that house. There he is, the first little pig in green, buying his straw. The second little pig met a man with a load of sticks. The pig decided to make his house out of sticks. Along came the wolf, who knocked on his door and said, little pig, let me come in." "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," answered the second little pig. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." And the wolf huffed and puffed, and he huffed and puffed again. And he blew the stick house down. The second little pig was not safe in his house either. Look at him there in his stick house. He looks very scared of the wolf. There's the wolf. The third little pig met a man with a load of bricks. He asked for some of the bricks to build a sturdy little house. Soon, the big bad wolf came knocking at his door. Knock, 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 knock. Saying, little pig, let me come in." "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," said the third little pig. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in," said the wolf. So he huffed and he puffed, and he puffed and he huffed, and he huffed and he puffed. But he could not blow down the brick house. Look at him there. He's trying so hard. His face is getting red. He popped a button off his jacket. Here's the little pig. I like his curly tail sticking out of his overalls. Cute. Oh, that's his mama. He has a picture of his mama on his wall. That's sweet. When he saw that the house was still standing, the wolf gave up all his huffing and puffing. He sat down for a while and wondered how he could get his paws on that plump little pig, because he dearly wanted a plump little pig for his dinner. Then he had an idea. "Dear pig," he called, "come with me to Farmer Smith's turnip field. I happen to know that it is full of nice turnips. I will come for you at 6 o'clock tomorrow." "All right," agreed the little pig. But the clever pig got up at 5 o'clock, went to Farmer Smith's, and gathered all the turnips he could carry. He was back home by 6 when the wolf arrived. So here's the wolf. He came for the pig. He looks like he has a bag to put the pig in. And here's the pig with one of the turnips. Looks like he's taunting him. The wolf was very angry when he discovered that he had been tricked, but he did not show it. Instead, he said politely, "Friend pig, I know of a lovely apple tree just up the hill. Its branches are heavy with ripe, delicious apples. I will come for you at 5 o'clock tomorrow. You must wait for me." Of course, the little pig had a better idea. He awoke at 4 o'clock and hurried off to pick his apples, hoping to return before the wolf came. But this time he had to climb a tree, and it was not so easy to climb back down. Uh-oh, he looks like he's stuck in the tree with the wolf there. It's a lot of good apples, though. One falling. When the wolf arrived at the little pig's house, he was very angry to discover that he had been tricked once again. He decided to go to the apple tree anyway. The wolf was delighted to find that the little pig was still there, struggling to get down. "Good morning, pig," said the wolf, licking his chops. "I am pleased to find you here. Tell me, are the apples as delicious as I said?" "Let me throw you one," answered the pig, and he threw it as far down the hill as he could. When the wolf ran to get it, the pig managed to climb down and trotted home as fast as his little legs would carry him. There, he baked himself a plump apple pie and had quite a feast. So there he is back at home, with this delicious steaming apple pie coming out of his oven. See his apples behind him. The next day, the wolf was back. He had thought of another way to get the pig to leave his home. "Charming pig," he called, "won't you come with me to the fair this afternoon?" "Oh, I love fairs," said the pig. "What time will you stop by?" 3 o'clock sharp," said the wolf. The little pig slipped out early and went to the fair by himself. He had a wonderful time there. He admired the flowers, ate some cotton candy, and bought bought a nice barrel for his rainwater. There he is. Looks like he's kicking his barrel along to get it back home. Seems like the wolf is approaching. On the way home with his new barrel, the pig saw the wolf coming along the road to meet him. The pig climbed inside the barrel to hide, and it began to roll. It rolled right down the hill. The sight of the rolling barrel frightened the wolf so much that he turned and ran straight home. The wolf came to the little pig's house later that day and told him how frightened he had been by the strange thing he had seen. The little pig laughed and said it had only been a barrel, and the pig himself had been inside it. Look at the scared little wolf running away. The big bad wolf did not like being laughed at, and he was getting very hungry. No little pig was going to cheat him out of his dinner. "Pig," he said, "I am tired of your tricks. The time has come to eat you up." Because he could not huff and puff and blow the sturdy house down, the wicked wolf climbed onto the roof of the little pig's brick house. He shouted down the chimney, little pig, I'm coming in." See, look at him up there. He's shouting down the chimney, and he looks angry. When he heard this, the little pig hung a big pot of water over the fire. The big bad wolf came down the chimney and fell right into the boiling water. That was the end of the big bad wolf. And we see this boiling cauldron. The fire. Okay. So that is all we are going to read today. There are still lots of stories in here. Maybe we will revisit in the future. I hope that if you are not sleeping, you are at least nice and relaxed and comfortable. Thank you so much again for joining me, and I will see you